Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast, but it's not just any episode. Today is the 50th episode of the podcast. Woo! I have Mr. Dutch Deals with me today.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
I am great.
Yeah, we've got a whole full show planned out here. We've actually sat down and like planned this out, which, I mean, I always do that anyway, but you know, I anticipate
even a quick run through.
Yeah, I anticipate this is going to be like a bumper episode. I even thought about the fact that it could actually be like two-parter, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens. But for today's show, and I think moving forward, Dutch Deals will be responsible for at least leading his episodes. That's the way I see it. So, yeah, without further ado, take us through the episode, man. What's happening?
Well, would you like a quick run through of everything we're doing today, or would you like to keep it sort of stum?
Keep it stum.
Would you like keep it stum? Okay, so one segment at a time.
You take the lead, and I'll sit back and do nothing.
Sit back and relax. Yeah, okay. Makes up for the other episodes, eh? No, okay. So, segment one I've got here is Ask Christian. We are back doing another Ask Christian. So, yeah.
Okay.
Without further ado.
I just do want to interject real quick, though. This is going to be the final Ask Christian for the foreseeable future. I believe it's the third Ask Christian that we've done for the podcast. Obviously, I've done various iterations of this for Instagram and YouTube, just in general. And like, to be fair, those have had like relative, I guess you could call it, success in some ways. But for this particular segment, for this podcast, we haven't really had any success, unfortunately. Because the whole idea, the whole vision I had for it is for, you know, us to send out questions to the audience, and the audience gets back to us and asks genuine questions that they want to know about myself, Dutch, or the podcast in general. We did that this week. I went on a social media tirade trying to promote the hell out of it. Didn't receive anything back at all. Not one message. With the exception, I did actually receive I would call it a hate comment, but let me explain. So I have two Discords, one for myself and one for the podcast. And when I messaged the whole Discord with like a @ everyone, which I don't normally do, but like for this I did because it's a special occasion, it was basically 10 questions that I had written down and planned out with thoughts behind, you know, what people like, dislike, you know, that kind of thing. And this person basically just, you know, every answer was like, F you, I hated it, this, that, and the other. And for me, that was kind of like the final straw, as fine as like, you know what, we didn't receive any messages. We didn't receive any kind of response other than this. So I think it's about time that we kind of just draw a line under this. And, you know, in the future, if we receive questions, if I see that that's happening in the comments, or if I get messaged, or if you get messaged, or, you know, whatever, then certainly we'll do that.
For sure, my Instagram DMs are literally always open. I only use them for memes at the moment. So
yeah, and I will say as well, actually, because we're going to do a segment for you today, Ask Deals, which is the first time we've ever done that. It's fine. We'll talk about it. But it's the same thing. Like, I want that to be like, you know, if you don't care about me, but you do care about Deals and you want to hear about Deals, then by all means, send the questions into him or send them to me, and we can do future segments of that too. But for as far as I'm concerned, there's no point sort of doing them past this point, because there isn't any actual interaction between us and the audience. So I don't want it to sound like a sad thing. I think I'm just trying to be a bit more like reasonable with this, and, you know, maybe in the future, you know, it will be a thing that people want. But right now, there doesn't seem to be a lot of that. What I will say, though, on a positive note, to kind of give it a spin, is that there does seem to be a little bit more viewership as far as YouTube and on all of the audio platforms is concerned. So I do want to say like a big thank you to everyone that is watching and enjoying it. I really hope that you are. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I would say, as
It means
always,
a lot to us.
yeah, it really does. And, you know, it motivates me to keep doing this, to keep finding interviews. Obviously, me and Dutch have got stuff planned for the future. So, you know, I would say, like, please be vocal. Like, let us know what you want to do. We'll try our best to kind of incorporate whatever you want. But, yeah, please let us know. And also, don't be afraid to tell us what you don't like as well, because I appreciate constructive criticism.
If you maybe even don't like I don't know, the kitchen.
Yeah, paint your kitchen, change your kitchen. We don't like it.
Paint the kitchen, turn it upside down, put a fridge behind me. I don't know. I'm all ears, man.
That would be so sick if we had a segment where it was just
stop drinking coffee mid.
We could have a future segment where like people get to just vote in what they want you to change about your house, and you have to do it. So like 100 likes, and you, I don't know, paint your kitchen pink or something.
Paint the kitchen pink.
Or 1,000 likes, I don't know.
The pink.
I mean, I don't know. What's wrong with pink?
Only thing worse than pink would be yellow. Like,
ooh,
looking
yeah.
at everything in the house and then painting it like a bright yellow. It just, you know.
I gotta say, sometimes when I see someone drive past with like an orange car or something, I do wonder if they're a psychopath. I mean, like, why would you purposefully?
It depends what kind of car, really. If it's just like your everyday car, then no. But if it's like an exotic kind of car, then orange is.
Yeah, but still,
okay.
Oh, I've got a Lamborghini. Do you know what? I want that in orange. What?
What do you mean? What's wrong with an orange Lamborghini?
I don't know, man. Blue, black, red.
It depends what kind. I mean, the classic Lamborghini color is like yellow or like a bright green.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I have seen them in orange. I know they're very like regular and stuff, and it's quite common. But I just don't get that color on cars. Whenever I see yellow, pink, or orange cars, it's a very kind of strange thing, and you do sort of stare at the car, right? Especially pink cars, and you're like,
oh no, pink, no, that doesn't go with any kind of car unless it's a big massive Hummer or something.
Why I mean, yeah. I think it's fine if you run like a nail business, you know, and you know you want to draw attention to yourself, then well done, fantastic. That's exactly what you're doing there, and it works.
People would be looking at the car, not the actual advertisement.
Well, you say that, but I mean, if you're drawn to the color, which we are as humans, you know, that's a very well-known thing that colors invoke certain emotions and feelings from us. And pink, you know, you do stop and stare, and inevitably you're probably going to look at what the writing says, and you might remember that. And especially if, you know, if you're a lady and you like to get your nails done often, then you might, that might be the first thing that you think of next time you get your nails done.
So
you know what I mean?
Do you think I should paint our car group like pink and put the Christian Reeve podcast on the side?
Sure, why not?
No, Bessie would not appreciate that. I'm just saying it.
Who's Bessie?
The car.
The car. You've named your car.
Appreciate it. I've named my car. Yeah, it's Bessie.
So okay, let's reiterate this, or let's go back. You don't own a car.
I'm not ashamed.
But when you own a car, you're going to paint it pink, and you're going to call it Bessie.
No, the car that's sitting out there will eventually be mine, and it's called Bessie.
So is this just some random car?
No, it's been in the family since 1998.
Oh, is this your dad's car then?
Well, it got passed down.
Oh, it's a family heirloom. Okay.
It is a family heirloom, actually. You joke about it, but nah, for real.
Fine. Sorry, touched a nerve.
Just because. Yeah, you did touch a nerve. Watch yourself, matey.
Sorry, I didn't mean to insult Bessie.
You say when you say it like that, you've just done it again. You apologized for insulting Bessie, and then you said it again.
I did, and I'd do it again.
Moving swiftly on.
Oh, okay. Actually, before we go on with Ask Christian, I do want to mention this real quick. So and by the way, so this podcast will drop after this has actually appeared, so we can talk about this. I finally got round to putting together and uploading The Chase.
You've actually just shot me in the foot, because that was going to be one of the questions that I asked.
That's fine. Let's talk about it now. So
I was going to say, okay, so can I ask the question and then we talk about it at least?
Fine.
So, Mr. Reeve, have you got any special projects that are ongoing?
Well, it's not ongoing, is it? It's done.
Yeah, but I mean, at the time it was. At the time it's kind of ongoing, but
No, it took me like probably an hour, if that.
I was trying to build up suspense with that question.
You know what? Let's circle back to that question, because I do actually have some stuff to talk about, other stuff. So ask me that again later. But for now, let's just talk about The Chase. So The Chase is something that me and Dills worked on this summer.
Ages ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. And we just shot it on camera phones. And I don't even know if I had anything particularly planned for it. I remember me and you talking for a while about doing some sort of acting piece together, and we were talking about like how it would be possible to do it, and the ideas that we had, like both for if we met in person and also just, you know, online through Zoom, I don't know, whatever, right? And we never like sat down and came up with a concrete idea, but we did actually discuss this idea of like in the forest.
Because it's like a mutual setting. We both have like forests nearby.
And I believe, because you were still in England when you filmed that, right? Or were you in Amsterdam or Holland by that point? Sorry.
No, I filmed it here.
Oh, okay. So you're in Holland.
In my back garden. So
cool. All right. So yeah. So that was, my parts were filmed in Manchester, in a local foresty area near to me in Salford, and yours were filmed in Holland. And then obviously, yeah, we put that together. And you know, the funny thing about it was that when you originally sent it to me, I was kind of demotivated because it seemed like it wasn't in order. But that was actually easily rectified when I finally did go to edit it. But I'll get to that. So basically, originally when you sent it to me, it seemed like it was out of order, like disorganized kind of thing, which wasn't your fault. It's just sometimes these things happen. When you get...
I set them to upload.
Yeah.
In like the right order. So
yeah.
I pressed on all of the right files in the right order, but then it uploaded the shorter ones and then the longer ones, and then it was like the first and the fourth and the seventh.
Yeah, here's the deal. Like when I first looked at it, it seemed like it was disorganized, and I realized like the magnitude of how long it would take to edit and stuff. And I always intended to do it. That was always the plan. But I just didn't want to do it straight away. And then it sort of sat on my list of like to do, because I have this to-do list that I've mentioned before where, you know, I think it's got like story time ideas, future video ideas that I'll do on like a rainy day when I feel like I've not got anything to kind of talk about or whatever, or do, which seems like an odd concept because I feel like there's always something, like I'm always having some ideas or something, but like I'm sure there'll be a point where like, you know, maybe I don't have as many ideas or I just feel like I should do them, but whatever. It was sitting on that list for a while and I always intended to get around to it. And then it became a bit of a joke between us, like, oh yeah, this thing, you know, and then it was weird. Like I just kept forgetting about it. Even though I had it written down, I just kept forgetting about it. And I've been crazy busy, especially lately. And then I sort of sat down at my computer like yesterday or whatever it was. And I was like, let's do The Chase. Let's do it now. And then I sat down, I started working on it. And then when it came to the organization of the files, I then realized that they actually were in order, yours specifically, and so were mine. And so all I had to do was just put the one after the other. And I deleted a couple of clips from mine and yours, trimmed a bit here and there and put it together. And it worked perfectly, better than I could have imagined. And I feel that with the soundtrack, it actually sounds really sick. I know you haven't seen it yet. Like, you will see it.
I'm itching to see it.
I think you'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy it. But what I will say is, now that this has come out afterwards, I can say what I think. I actually feel, because the first thing that I put up was the it's not a trailer, it's like a little mini
a
teaser, yeah, and it just says my name, your name, and then the name of the thing. And I was really proud of that, but that comes right at the end of it. And I feel like that was actually the best part about it. It was the ending. If I'm honest, I mean, I really did my best, like that I could do with the whole thing, putting it together, and I still think it's good throughout. I don't profess to be like a great movie maker or editor or anything like that.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it? If you had to sum it up.
It depends, because I feel that there's different ways I could rate it. If we're talking quality, I would put it at like a 5 or a 6. Maybe a 5.
You have to remember, we were working with what we had.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like, I'm trying to be fair and reasonable. Like, I know it would be 10 times better if we had the actual equipment, but I'm just being fair. Like, if we're talking just quality of what we're working with, 5 or 6, which I still think is generous. If we're talking like the quality of the content itself, I mean, it's hard to judge my own stuff. Do you know what I mean? But like, I would put it at a 6 or a 7-ish. I'm very proud of it. It's honestly come out a lot better than I thought it would. I was really impressed with your acting, by the way. I actually feel that your acting in many places was better than mine. I felt like mine was it's basically just my character from
Flip of a coin.
From Flip of a Coin, yeah, Luther, which I didn't realize until afterwards. Like, I didn't think of that character at all. I guess, it could be that character, it could not be. It's not really, the only idea I had as far as like the idea of the character was that this is like a bit of a psychopath chasing someone. That's all I thought about. And that voice just came to mind straight away. But your interpretations or your reactions were just really good. Very good. I know this will sound weird, but very good, like breathing in certain parts. I know how that sounds, but like, given that it's a chase scene and that it's like reactions and stuff, and the fact that you're reacting to no one, there's no one actually there. I thought it was very impressive.
I actually ran.
Yeah, I know. It was very good. And I like the ending as well. Obviously, I didn't give you anything to work with at all. Only the clips that I sent you. There was no information, which makes it even more impressive because for those who don't know, every acting piece that I do, that I produce, never has a script. It's all unproduced. It's all... I call it the wrestling style. So when professional wrestlers, like really successful ones, like some of the best, like The Rock or like CM Punk or people like that, famously they use bullet points in their promos, where they basically essentially ad-lib the whole thing, but they know where they're going with it, and if they get lost within it, they can always veer it back. You know what I mean?
So like there will eventually be an endpoint and a certain person will win.
With the promo, you mean?
No, I mean just like with the bullet points. Like, do they know who's going to win? Do they know like what's exactly going to happen? Or, cause, I mean, I don't watch wrestling. I've just seen clips of it, but
I mean, both performers, like doing the promo, will obviously know what's supposed to happen. Yeah, usually.
So they're like rigged. So they.
Well, I mean, it depends because some companies like WWE, like these days, they script everything, so they know exactly what's going to be said. Which sucks. It's just a shitty way to do promos. But other companies like AEW, MLW, New Japan, blah, 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 they ad-lib or don't have a script at all, but they'll have this kind of like A to Z, like, okay, we need to cover like these things. You need to mention this thing, this thing, this thing, but how you get there is up to you. What you say, the verbiage you use, that's all up to you. That's generally how a wrestling promo works.
Because it's more natural.
Yeah, well, some of the absolute best promos of all time, both old and current day, have been completely ad-libbed, and it's a better way because it's more natural, I feel, and that's why I do mine the way that I do them, because I feel like sometimes it's better to let whatever comes naturally come naturally. And obviously, if the clip is just not good, then I'll just film it again and see what happens. But I always know like the purpose of what I'm trying to do with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Thus.
But yeah, any thoughts on the chase? I know obviously you've only seen the but well, I mean you've seen some of the clips, haven't you? I mean you kind of know what's happening.
I've seen your clips, obviously, because that's what I was going off of.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what my clips are. I'm just really intrigued
To see how it's put together. I mean, it's basically just I've put it all together, put some suspenseful music under it. I know I'm really underselling it, but that is really essentially what I've done. And it's a testament to the fact that music really does just have...
change it. It just changes.
Yeah, it gives it an atmosphere. Like, for example, I don't know if you noticed, 'cause I'm pretty sure no one else did. I re-uploaded season 1 of Flip of a Coin with music, and I took down the original videos that had no music because I wanted it to be more in line with the original video, like season 2 and season 3. I wanted it to be in line with that. So I basically just did a George Lucas and went back, and but I didn't ruin anything. Like I basically added in the intro and the outro, and I added music to every segment, but I didn't change anything. I didn't refilm anything. I only added the music, and it helps. Like it's actually made certain scenes much better. And I actually feel that season 1 was always the weak point, but now it's got to a point where it's like consistent with the others. And my vision has been for each season to kind of have its own appeal, obviously, but like each of them tells a part of the story, and they're all equal footing now, I believe. Like they weren't before, but I feel that now they are. And yeah, I'm happy with them. Did you watch all of them or any of them? Just out of curiosity.
I've seen some episodes when they've been uploaded, but I think I've got to. Now you're really selling this to me. I've got to watch it.
My own co-host hasn't checked it out. I'm devastated.
No, that's not what I said. I have checked it out. Just I haven't sat down and binged it.
Yeah, I mean there is quite a lot now. Actually,
I kind of need to, because the holidays are coming up after next week. I've got 2 weeks free time.
I hate to be on the negative wave, but like I really put like so much effort into season 3. Like I put a lot of effort into season 2, but I put so much effort into season 3, and I put hear me out. This isn't about you. This is just in general. Okay, this isn't about you. It's about me. It's about me. It's all me. It's always been me. Oh man. No, look, I mean, I put a lot of effort into it, and this isn't supposed to be like a sob story. It's just the fact that like it really sucks when you put your life and soul into something and it just doesn't do well. And that seems to be the story of a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now. But I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm just doing what I enjoy, what I love, and I'm just trying to focus on that. But every once in a while, it will suck. Like in line with the same as what happened with the promo for this episode, it was the same with season 3. Like I did premieres for every single episode, and no one turned up for any of them, with the exception of the first one, which Steelsy, who's a friend, Steelsy, he's been on the show before. He's a really good friend. He's donated money to me before. Like he's an absolute legend. Cannot say enough good things about Steelsy. Go check out his Twitch. Go follow him. Subscribe to him. Steelsy is awesome. But anyway,
in the description.
Linking in the well, I'll probably forget, but here's the plug. You know,
no, you won't forget. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a reminder. Link in the description.
Fine. I'll put the link in the description.
Link in the description.
Whenever anyone says that, I always just think of KSI, like back in the day when he was like, link in the description.
Link in the description.
Yeah, I can see the message. I'm not blind. Jesus. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, I basically recorded a trailer for it, like I did for the second season. Put premieres up for every episode. Really went over and beyond for the promo of it, and not one person showed up. I was just like, jeez, man. And I remember just sitting and watching the episodes and like watching the premieres and eating and stuff, and I enjoyed them. And I was just like, I kind of feel like objectively like they're good. Do you know what I mean? Like this is enjoyable content, and I'm surprised like no one kind of checked it out. No one said anything, because I remember getting some like positive feedback in the beginning. Like people actually, there was one guy in particular that actually was watching it and like even devised like theories and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then it just ended. And so that was really disheartening. And I don't know, there's just been a lot of disheartening stuff lately.
You just gotta not let it really get to you. I mean,
yeah, but dude,
I keep looking at my channel every now and again when I've got like some free time, and I've noticed that like some videos have shot way up, but some haven't really
like,
touched base anywhere.
I am grateful. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying sometimes
it's impossible. The thing is, I kind of, I'll be honest. Like that, hearing that is BS. It's impossible to not take it to heart a little bit. Like, well, I don't. The thing is, I don't sit thinking about this all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like most of the time, I don't care. Yeah. I get on with my life. I do what I need to do. Blah blah blah. Right? But that 5% of the time, I do sit and kind of feel like, I wish that I'd done something.
You've got to. You have to sometimes sit and think about it. But
yeah, and that's more what I'm
not letting it get to you too much is the key.
I don't think I do.
Think about it.
I don't think I do. Like I'm the type of person that I'm always honest with how I feel. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm happy about something, I'll say, hey, great, this went really well. Or if I'm sad about something, I'll be like, oh, this sucked, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't try to paint everything as perfect or like everything is excellent, you know.
Then you've got it perfect. You've got your attitude sort of.
I think so. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like I think you should always be like, in a way, I kind of like the fact that I do kind of feel like that about my work, because it at least means that I care about what I'm doing and I'm not just doing it like to get views or some shit. You know what I mean? But I think I just think about like how much I put into certain things, and when it doesn't get any attention at all, it's a bit like, because I always say this, right? Good and bad feedback or viewership or whatever is always positive, right? But apathy is the absolute worst thing ever. When just no one cares, that's the worst thing. Like even when I get negative comments now, like I always just, first of all, I laugh. And then secondly, I'm like, cool, someone cared enough to tell me that I suck or they hated this. That's good.
Yeah, so they're basically accomplishing the opposite of what they want to do.
Maybe. I mean, people have different motives.
If they type a comment and go, this video sucked, no one will ever pay attention to it. Well, I mean, you did enough to comment. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I take negative criticism differently. Because, like, in that example... It's not
criticism at all. If it's just
well, it is criticism. It is. Because there's a difference. Don't forget, there's criticism and then there's constructive criticism.
No, but that's just plain, like, criticism. That doesn't help you at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you, but your attitude towards it can, because you say, "Oh, it doesn't help me at all. It doesn't help me at all," and I disagree with that.
I just sort of ignore comments like that, though.
Well, if people leave me negative comments all the time, and often it's just like not constructive. It'll be something like, "Oh, this sucked. Why would anyone want to watch this? This is trash." Blah blah blah. Right, and when I was a young person, like teenager, like stuff like that would get to me. Whereas now, I go back to what I said before. I take it as like this person has taken time out of their day to say, I hate this, I dislike this, this bothered me, right? And that's good. Like, if nothing else, I want my work to invoke something. You know what I mean?
So what, someone's paid attention enough to actually say something rather than just shrugging it off?
Yeah. Well, don't forget, there's a lot of people that just dislike your stuff. Like on YouTube, they'll just dislike it. Like, for instance, there's one person I know I know for a fact it's a particular person. There was someone who, because I regularly post my songs on like subreddits, right, in Reddit, like acoustic originals or something like that, right? Or acoustic cover. There's various different ones I post in. And there was someone who commented, I can't remember if it was YouTube or Reddit. I might have mentioned this last time we spoke, I can't remember. But basically they said stuff like, oh, yeah, you know, all your songs sound the same chord progression, which is incorrect. Like if they listen to all of the songs I've written, some of them have similar chord progressions, but a lot of them are different tunings, different sounds, whatever, right? But, you know, there's many musicians that work in that manner. Do you know what I mean? If you listen to someone like, I don't know, City and Colour, like a lot of his chord progressions are similar. Or like John Butler Trio, you know, his music, sometimes the songs even sound exactly the same, right? But it's still a different song. So I looked at that criticism and I was just like, this is just incorrect. Like it's fine. I appreciate the criticism and I take it, you know, I think about it now. Every time I write a song, I'm like, I hope this isn't too similar to what I've done before. But at the same time, like, I mean, that's not really a bad thing. Like, that's kind of a lot. Like, for instance, if you write an album, often all of the songs on the album will sound similar because it's that particular vision for that record. Like, here's a good example. There's an album that I love by a band called Incubus. They're kind of like a alt rock outfit from the 2000s, right? I love them. And they did an album, I believe it's called Circles, I could be wrong, but it's got songs like Wish You Were Here, not by Pink Floyd, it's a different 11 a.m., a few other songs. And they all sound very similar, like tone, pacing, all of this stuff, but they're all different songs. But I take it as like, oh, this whole record is one vision, one particular moment, one capturing of a sound in a particular time. And that's how I see my music. Like right now, all of my music sounds a certain way. And I kind of see it as like, yeah, I know I just hit the mic.
Bloopers.
You're such a child.
Going in the blooper reel.
Anyway.
What's a child? What?
Well, not really. Do you know what I mean? Not really.
Childish, yeah.
Child, yeah. Anyway, you're making me lose my train of thought now. Yeah, so the music I have right now that I'm writing right now, I see it as like lockdown music. It's all kind of similar sounding, but I am branching out and experimenting as much as possible. But when I compare this to like the last solo stuff I did back in like 2015, 2016, and also back in 2013 when I did an EP, it's very different. So yeah, I always look at constructive criticism that I receive and try to like think about like, does this actually apply? Is this really constructive to me? Is this just someone hating? Because a lot of the time when you receive negative comments, it just comes out of jealousy. Like that example that you gave, if I heard that, I would just think this person's just like jealous, but it bothers them on some level, like it's insecurity. Like this isn't a reflection of me. This is more a reflection of them. You know what I mean? It's like, because that's the thing. When you're a happy person, either confident in yourself or happy in life, you don't attack other people like ever. You know what I mean? You don't hate on other people. That's something that negative people do, which is what I've sort of realized. Like, because don't get me wrong, you know, I was a negative person when I was growing up, when I was like late teens. I was not happy. You know, I've told the story many times. I was working in a supermarket, hating life. You know, there were good things going on in my life, but the bulk of my life was working in this supermarket and hating myself and feeling like I was never going to achieve anything. And that was reinforced by the managers I had and the customers that would talk down to me and all of these different factors, right? In the mind of
Honestly,
a young
I'm just going to step in here and say that I kind of feel like that sometimes. But the important thing, and this is sort of some advice to anybody who's out there, you know, sort of hating yourself for whatever reason, don't. I know it's hard.
Sorry. Great advice, man.
Now, listen, hear me out.
10.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Try and think of the things that make you happy. Like, let's say, for example, you are working in a supermarket and you are sort of really thinking that you're not going to really go anywhere. The only person who can change that is you. Either, I mean, yeah, okay, working in a supermarket really, I mean, it's not the best job in the world, is it? But you're making money. You're saving money so that you can either go to college, get driving lessons, put that towards your career. You're in turn, yeah, okay, you're in a supermarket stacking shelves, but realistically, you're preparing for your future.
Do you know, I want to step in here because I literally, obviously, like I said, I was actually in this situation nearly 10 years ago now. It's kind of crazy to think about 9 years ago. And I can walk you through exactly how I felt. I remember feeling like very alone, even though I had a girlfriend at the time, friends, sort of. I'm very picky about friends these days. Like I consider very few people to actually be friends. Most people I just regard as acquaintances.
What about me?
It's getting there. It's getting there. No, I consider you a friend. But the thing is, like, what you need to understand is that, like, I keep people at a distance. Like I let very few people like in. So there's like loads of stuff you don't know about me and that you won't know unless we become like really close pally best mates.
Totally agree.
Right. But I do it as a defense mechanism, and I think that a lot of people should. I don't think you should give yourself away freely to people, because people, and this is just personal experience, people have screwed me over, betrayed me, all of this lovely stuff. So that's mainly why I do it.
If nobody knows what's going on or what sort of happened,
yeah,
that information is controlled only by you. If you let the wrong person in, they also know that information, and then you've lost a bit of control.
Yeah.
They decide to tell everybody. That's it, gone.
Anyway, bringing it back to the point. So when I was in this supermarket, like, even though on the surface, I had a band, I had a girlfriend, I had people I knew, I had a family, you know what I mean? Like, I had things that people I could talk to, but I couldn't talk to them because they either didn't care or they didn't get how I was feeling. You know what I mean? So I really felt alone, and it's a crazy feeling to feel alone when you're surrounded by people. That's worse than being alone. Like right now, I'm truly alone. Like I don't have any friends around me. I don't know anyone up here. It gets lonely, but I feel like really free and it's a weird feeling. I feel like extremely happy and like kind of a bit sad at the same time. But I definitely feel 100 times happier than I felt in many years, and definitely a million times happier than I felt working in that job. And here's the thing. It wasn't even about the job. It was about people. See, there's nothing wrong with working in a supermarket. I knew many people that worked all their life in a supermarket and they loved the job. And it's a pretty straightforward job. It's pretty easy, especially if you work for like the higher tier, companies like Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's. Like it's a pretty straightforward job, easy. You can get quite through the ranks pretty easily. You know what I mean? There's a lot of positives. But as a teenager with low self-esteem, hating the world, not feeling happy, not feeling like they had a support network or anyone that cared about me, I felt kind of like I just like thrown my life away. Like, everyone else was going off to university and here I am in this place, and it really started to reinforce when the band broke up and things started to go bad with the girl that I was with at the time. Everything was just going to shit. And it really reinforced how I felt at the time. But like I said, people made it worse. The managers around me, I was trying to become a manager there. I figured while I'm here, I should at least, because I've always, if nothing else, I've always had ambition in anything I do. I've always tried to make something of what I'm doing. Even if I hate what I'm doing, I try my best. And I just kept getting held down. And that was my first experience of like workplace politics. And it will sound stupid to people because it's a fucking supermarket. But anyone that works in any job ever will experience some sort of workplace politics. It's just inevitable. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with merit. You can work your absolute arse off and you'll still be held down. And it will come down to things like nepotism, favoritism, whatever the case may be. And that's what was happening in this place. And it reinforced my my lack of self-esteem. The managers kind of caught on to the fact that I had low self-esteem and would, it's kind of fucked. Like, they kind of exploited that. They knew they were doing it. They gave me opportunities and they said, like, hey, yeah, we're gonna finally do this. We're gonna give you this opportunity to be a team manager. And it never happened. And they would give it to other people. They did shit like bring someone in, get me to train them and then put them over me, and I'd had enough after that. And I heard that the managers were like bitching behind my back, saying I was worthless and, I would never amount to anything. And that's just what the management was saying and other people, right? Then there's the customers. Now, I worked in a place that, it was a very well-to-do area. It was an area called Chiswick in London. Average house price is like 5 million or something like that. You get a lot of celebrities living there. People commute. At the time, they were commuting in and out of London within London to go to White City, where the BBC used to be. But there was other like places they would go and such. Anyway, because of that, they would kind of look at you like, look down at you, talk down to you. They would assume because you're working in a supermarket, you're stupid or, not to be treated with respect, which I think doesn't matter how successful you are in life. You shouldn't treat anyone like that. It doesn't fucking matter where they work or what they do. Like, that has no reflection on their intelligence, But anyway, that's how I was being treated on a daily basis. And eventually it kind of got to the point where I got so sick and tired of it that I just had to do something about it. I was like, it's either this or I don't know, I just lose my fucking mind. And as the relationship was breaking down with this girl that I was with, because she was studying and doing stuff the whole time as well. And I was like, and this is really negative to have in a relationship, but I was jealous of her, envious of her doing that. I wanted her to do it. I supported her doing that, obviously, but I was jealous, which is an ugly emotion to have. But I was this really confused, miserable teenager. And it's weird because you'd think at that age, you've got your whole life ahead of you. You should be excited about things and naive and stuff. But I already felt like I knew everything and that I, not in the sense that I know everything, but I felt like there's nothing for me. There's, I've got nothing to look forward to. That's how I felt. And then I just kind of had this attitude of like, fuck it. Let's just try to get into uni at the last minute. And so I tried to do that. It didn't work out in the first time because it was just too late to leave it. But I started, working at, going to that college. I dropped down to part-time hours, which was a godsend. I was so much happier when I did that. Because I could get away from the supermarket. I could choose my own hours to some extent. And, I was doing something else besides stacking shelves. And then, like I said, I've told this story a million times, so I won't finish it because everyone knows the ending, right? But the point of all of this is that it's very easy to say to people, hey, yeah, you've just got to go and do it. But you know what? It's not that easy. It took me 2.5 years before I was able to just finally say, fuck it, let's just do it. And part of that was because of the band, because I thought the band would work out and it didn't. Part of it was like me not knowing, me being unsure. Am I intelligent enough to go to uni? Can I do this? Because there wasn't anyone around me saying, hey, Christian, you can do this. Hey, Christian, I believe in you. Hey, Christian, you should consider this. Have you ever considered this? There was no one like that. There was one guy, one person. His name was Ross. He was older than me. Very positive guy. He'd been through a lot of shit in his life. And he was a breath of fresh air. In a place with mostly negative people, he was really positive, and he actually made me feel like I might actually be worth something. And I attribute a lot of my feeling of like, hey, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should go for this to him. I'm not sure if he knows this or not. Unfortunately, we fell out of touch. Just these things happen, right? But I'll always, sing his praises. I think he's an awesome guy, and he really helped me at that point. And throughout my life, there's been very rarely anyone like that. There's been a few people here and there along the way, but mostly it's just been people either not giving a fuck or people trying to bring me down. And the few people throughout my life that have been like the positive force and have actually given me some hope or belief in myself, like they come few and far between. That's why you really, like, if you ever meet someone like that in your life, like really make the most of that person, like treasure them, because most people around you, unfortunately, are not like that. And that's what I would take away from that. And that's why I would say, like, it's, no offense to you, but it's not as easy as like you make it sound like, oh, you just have to just do it. Like to some extent, yeah, you do need to push yourself. You are in control of yourself. You are responsible. No one is responsible for you. That is true. But at the same time, you do kind of need some people around you, people that give you a kick up the arse, make you see life differently. This is why it's always important to talk to like as many people as possible in life and to really, put yourself out there, because you never know what you can learn from people and how you can grow and what you'll get, you know what I mean? And what you can give as well, to some extent. People often comment right now on the fact that, they think that I'm a very positive person. They think I'm confident. They think, all of this crap, but basically, they think about me and they say it about me. And it's funny to me because I'm not like a fully confident person. I have good days and bad days like anyone else. A lot of the way that I am right now is just years of understanding like how you need to present yourself in the world and how you need to put yourself out there and just try. Even if you don't feel confident, even if you doubt yourself all the time, I think you just have to try, because if you don't try, you just miss out. And then you're full of regrets. And that is worse than anything else, is not knowing if you could have done something or not, because the worst that can happen when you try is that it just doesn't work out. And, if that happens, you learn something from it, you brush yourself off and you move on, right? But if you don't try, that's just on you. That's on no one else. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've gone off on a real tangent here, but that's what I think.
Well, I've got nothing really to say except I agree. When I was saying about having a positive outlook and focusing on you deciding who you want to be.
Yes.
That's all up to perspective. If you can't do it, you can't do it. If you can, well done. You're one of the very few people that actually can.
Yeah, no, that is important.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to segue this into the first segment. Because it has been about an hour and we haven't even touched this first segment.
Damn. It's good. This is what happens when me and you talk. This is good stuff.
We went off on a huge tangent.
That's fine. Okay, so ask Christian. Let's go.
Yes. Okay. So the very first question, the very most important question, why do you, Christian Reeve, enjoy making this podcast?
Oh, damn.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. This might be a long one.
Why do I enjoy making this podcast? It's not an easy question to answer, really. I mean, I've always wanted to do a podcast for many years. Originally, I just wanted to do a wrestling podcast and just talk about wrestling. I'd still be up for doing that, to be honest. But I quickly realized that I wanted to talk about all sorts of things. I didn't want to be restricted. Obviously, I did the TCJ podcast very briefly. I really enjoyed that. I figured that was what I was going to do because I didn't feel like I was interesting enough to do my own podcast. Like, I know there's people that do it, For instance, there's a wrestler called Hurricane Helms, the Hurricane, if you know who I'm talking about. And
I don't really follow wrestling.
That's fine. He's a really funny, entertaining guy, a very excellent professional wrestler, and he does his own podcast, like just him. I think he occasionally has guests and stuff, but mostly it's just him talking. And I figured, like, if I did my own podcast, that's what it would be. And I just wasn't sure if that was interesting enough. But once I started vlogging, I kind of realized, I think it was when Childish Jacko said to me, like, oh, you know, sometimes I just listen to your vlogs while I'm at work, you know, just have them on in the background. And I kind of laughed at that, but I was like, that's interesting. Like, so there's some, like, when I talk, people, you know, might sometimes listen to what I'm saying and find it interesting. And I was like, I suppose I could try. And I think this is one of those things where I'm still kind of figuring it all out, if I'm honest. I know it's been 50 episodes, and there's been a lot. I've learned a lot in that time, but I think that it's one of those things that I just wanted to try and do and see what would happen. And through the course of doing it, I've learned that I really enjoy, like, interviewing people. Because originally I always intended to have guests on the show, but I didn't really know how that would look. Like, would I talk to them about certain topics, or would it be like a game show type scenario, or like what would happen, right? But randomly I just decided, like, oh, screw it, I'm just going to interview people. Like, you know, that'll be interesting. You know, you introduce people to someone, you go through their life, you talk about various things they're doing, their dreams, their, you know, their beliefs on things, whatever. And like with every person that's appeared on the show, it's been different. Some people, you know, it's been straightforward. We do the interview, that's it. Other people, you know, it escalates into a long conversation, a discussion. And I embrace either. I'm happy to do either, really. So, I mean, I don't know if this really answers the question, because I can't give like a concrete answer to it. But I think mostly the reason that I do it is because I just enjoy talking to people and learning from people. I enjoy the fact...
You enjoy the interviews and learning about the people that you're speaking to.
Yeah, and I enjoy the fact that, like, every time I do this, it's always different. It's never the same. No guest is ever the same. It always feels and looks different. It's always a challenge. I like that. I like things in life that are a challenge. There you go.
Okay. I must admit, that is a pretty good answer.
Thanks.
I enjoy doing the podcast because, I mean, this isn't an Ask Dills yet, but...
No, give your answer. I want to hear.
I enjoy doing the podcast because not like it gives me something to do, but I enjoy believing that I have a project. Right now, I'm not really working on anything. I'm taking a break from YouTube. I might make some odd videos that are sort of have no actual meaning, but this gives me a pastime. This helps me speak and get things out and sort of take control of my life, I guess. So
awesome.
It's important to have something to do.
I know what you mean, like have a purpose or a sense of purpose.
I mean, it's not like I'm saying, you know, I'm useless. There's no purpose of me existing.
No. I get what you mean.
Sort of,
dude, it's like, for me, it's like I've been unemployed this whole time, as everyone knows. And I remember thinking, like, in the beginning of this, like, it's very easy to just sit and play games and waste your time. But I felt like I have to have, like me personally as a human being, I have to have like a day-to-day things that I'm working on, goals, projects. I don't know what it is about me. I've just learned over time that's the type of person that I am. I have to have things that I'm working towards. I have to feel like I'm contributing something of worth. That's why I started volunteering as well. It wasn't just about helping people. It was about, like, how can I contribute to the world in a positive way? you know, and that's kind of like how I see what I'm doing as well here with content creating. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I view this as like some amazing content that will change people's lives, because obviously not. But like, I do kind of feel like if I can make people smile or make people entertained, or like maybe they're having a shitty day and they put this podcast on and it just makes getting through that day a bit easier. Like, I consider that to be like something positive and a positive contribution. And I've started to think more and more about that as I've gotten older. Like when I was young, when I was a teenager, I didn't give a flying fuck about these things. I just wanted to be happy and didn't care about anything else. Whereas now I kind of see like being happy and is as much about doing things for yourself that make you happy as it is about doing things for the betterment of everyone else around you as well.
Okay. That's a very good point. Making people happy is probably one of the best reasons you can give. So
I try at least. That's
everybody listening along to this right now, just give a little bit of a round of applause. If you're sitting on the bus, people will get very confused. Just sitting on the train, just going.
At the end of the day, I'm just another guy. Just doing
Everybody is just another person. Don't worry about it.
That's true.
No, not the people listening to this. The people listening to this are very special people, very good people. But everybody who decides to not listen, just another person. Just another person who isn't listening.
You're just missing out. That's
ignorant buggers.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that far. Come on. Maybe they just haven't discovered the podcast yet, you know, and then they will. It'll change their lives.
It'll change your life.
It will change your life forever.
Listen, people, listen. Take advice, man. Okay, so this is an idea that I had, but didn't really follow through with, like, asking you about it. So I would like to ask it sort of on record. The podcast episodes in 2021.
Yes.
So you started this podcast this year, right? 2020.
Yeah, like July time, I think.
Yeah. How would you feel about making the episodes in 2021 season 2?
I've been contemplating it.
Oh, you've thought about it?
Yeah. I mean, the thing with me is I feel that if you're going to do something like that, it needs to be new. If you're coming back and do you know what I mean? You're doing a new thing, everything about it needs to change. So like what that would look like for me is I need to have the money to get an editor to edit these, the look of them as well. So it's not just about how this looks, but what I would want is like a logo, links to myself and yourself, you know, all of that stuff. I want it to look and feel different. So for a season 2, that's what would need to happen. As far as I'm concerned, because I don't have the money to do that right now, I'm going to continue in the manner that I am now. So it will remain season 1 or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. Like this whole season 1 thing, like I've noticed that that's a thing on like Anchor, where I distribute the podcast for audio platforms. And I thought about that. I thought about like, oh, maybe season 2 will be next year, but like past this episode, I've already got podcasts lined up that hopefully will still happen. And that will continue on afterwards, after 50. And I figured like, oh, should I do something special? And I'm like, well, there's not really anything I can do that will look to the quality and standard that I want. That's the thing. That's the reality of the situation, is anything that I produce will not be great quality because I'm just not a good designer and I'm restricted by the tools that I have. But I'm absolutely 100% willing to put the money into getting like an editor and getting an artist and all of that stuff. When money is there, when I have that kind of money, when it comes to a day where like, I don't know, I get sponsored or I'm earning money from YouTube, or I don't know, maybe I received donations or something like that, then I would do that basically.
Okay. And on the subject of seasons and episodes, how many more episodes do you think there'll be of the Christian Reeve podcast?
It'll just go on.
You can give me a really simple answer, like as many as we can make. Because that actually is a pretty good answer, because that means that there's like no end whatsoever. But like, I guess my question is more: have you ever thought about ending it?
Well, yeah, when I get like upset and like sad at the fact that it doesn't get any views, that's normally when I'm like, oh, I should just end this right now. Basically, yeah.
I'm quitting.
But like, I wouldn't ever do that, because that's just not the type of person I am. Like, if I'm going to end something, it has to have like a conclusive ending. But
Yeah.
have I thought about it? Yes, but I mean, my attitude is I'll keep doing this as long as I enjoy it and as long as I want to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it will end one day, but I look at like Joe Rogan and how long he's been doing it and how his podcast has changed throughout the years.
So you're saying that maybe at one point there'll be like an episode 1002?
Who knows? Maybe. You know, I mean, I didn't.
Episode 1000.
I mean, that's the whole point of this episode. Why I wanted to do a special episode was because, like, I'm amazed that we got to 50. Like, I couldn't believe that we got to 10 episodes.
I am proud of you. I am proud of you.
Well, thank you.
I remember when I looked on Spotify and there was like episode 1 to like 5.
Yeah.
And 9. And now we've just like blown it out of the water, and here's 50.
I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, if the more work you put in and the harder you try, the better things will become inevitably. Like, I've had some really great guests lately. I keep receiving really great guests. I keep getting good ideas for like future topics we can do. You know, obviously the decision to make you a co-host was a big one. Again, I've said this before, but I like the fact that a podcast almost feels like split. It's like two worlds operating within the same sphere, if you know what I mean. It's like interviews and then Chris and Dutch. I like that. I don't know why I like that. I can't think of any other podcast that does that. I'm sure there are podcasts that operate in that manner, but I like that. It's a variety thing. I like this idea that every time you tune in, you don't know what you're going to expect. I like that.
Wait, one sec. I'm going to. I didn't know I could do this, but.
What are you doing? You're not going to. What are you doing?
There we go.
What's going on? What's going on?
I've changed my name to Dutch instead of Dills.
Or what?
I might do that on YouTube as well, because my name is just Dills, but like there's already a YouTuber called Dills who's actually pretty
I've been telling you from the start, you should just call yourself Dutch Dills. It's a great name. No one else has it. I'm gonna keep calling you that because I think it's a great name.
But I like Dutch. It's just so simple.
No, but the good thing about your name is it's interchangeable. You can use both. I just personally feel that your brand should be Dutch Dills. It's a good brand to have. It's sometimes you hear a name, you know that expression like what's in a name? Like there's a lot in that name. It sounds like a brand. I mean, people tell me the same thing about my name. It's just a fucking name at the end of the day, but I mean, people have said that. They're like, "Oh, that sounds like a good name, like a professional name." And I'm like, "Yeah, I like it." You know, and I think that's the main thing. If you like it, if it sounds good, then use it, you know? I don't know. I think it also, there's the rhythm of how it sounds as well. If it's just Dills or Dutch, it doesn't kind of roll off the tongue quite as well as saying Dutch Dills. It just, boom, sounds good.
Okay, there we go. I'll change it back to Dutch Dills.
That hasn't changed. It still says Dutch.
No, but on YouTube, I mean.
Good man. I mean, ultimately, it's up to you. It's your decision at the end of the day. I just personally, if it was me, that's what I would do. I'm just saying.
I like how my banner says Dills, and then underneath it says "Subscriber, you're a noodle." I don't even remember doing that. Subscribe or you're a noodle.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But my handle on like Twitter, I don't know what that should be.
Dutch
Because
Dills.
right now it's Dylan Pringle with an O instead of
Hmm.
with a zero instead of an O.
That's actually your full name, isn't it? Your real name.
Dylan Pringle, yeah.
Yeah.
I've just released that information.
It's fine. It's okay. Dude, people will find out your name anyway. This is 2020. This isn't like 1970.
people will like literally go to the ends of the earth to find out their favorite YouTuber's name.
Yeah,
I mean, I doubt I'm anybody's favorite YouTuber.
you might
You
be.
know,
You don't
it
know.
might.
Maybe you are. You never know. That's quite a cool concept to think about.
What if I'm like someone's favorite YouTuber? What if someone just watches me religiously?
That would be so cool. I would love to have a fan like that. That'd be amazing.
I'm your number one fan, and
No,
nobody
you're
can say
not.
otherwise because this is a podcast and nobody can argue.
Yeah, I can, because you haven't watched all my content. You haven't even watched the whole of Flip of a Coin, so clearly you're not my number one fan.
Do you wanna slap? Do you wanna fight? Something? What's going on here?
We've already had a fight. We got divorced, don't you remember?
Chris, you better not be getting rowdy with me again. I swear to God.
What are we going to do?
You already took the friggin' house and the car. And
Exactly. So you don't want to be arguing with me, because then you really will start losing stuff.
Yeah, well, you're gonna lose something if you don't be quiet. Do you want to know what that is? Your life. Your life.
Oh, he's making death threats now. There you go.
I'm not making death threats. I'm just making.
That was clearly a death threat.
It was a warning.
All right. Have you got any more questions for me? Or... Well, that was just unnecessary. For those listening to the Christian Reeve podcast, Dylan proceeded to make a disgusting face at the camera. Yes. So shall we resume, or what's going on? I'll just wait for you to finish. So uncivilized. Are you done? Clearly not. I mean, let's just wait. Let's just wait for you, you know. I made this guy my co-host. I mean, what's wrong with me? Just a series of bad decisions. That's what your 20s is, really. A series of bad decisions, one after the other.
Don't talk to me while I'm laughing. I'll just laugh more. It's like when a teacher says, "What are you thinking about?" and you just go.
You don't want to know.
No, because you finally stop thinking about it and you calm down and you sort of go.
You know what the worst thing is, when you're at school and you pass notes. I don't know if kids still do that now, but like when you would pass like expletive notes, and then they're like, read the note out, and it would be like something unbelievably offensive or dodgy, and you're like, oh no, you really want me to read this out? You really want me to do that?
I'm pretty sure my friend got sent out of class because he he wasn't even thinking. He just drew the swastika on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
The teacher came over to look at it, and she just sort of went, "There's the door."
Yeah. Yeah. So, moving on. Do you have any more questions for me, or is this segment over?
I have one more question for you.
One more question. Okay. Really? I would have thought you had more.
I do, but
what?
I kind of want to keep. We've got a schedule to keep, Chris.
Ask them more, man.
No.
No, this is the last Ask Christian we're going to do.
But for real, I've been thinking about the questions, and I don't think I really want to do them. I've got the ones that I really.
Oh, great.
No, I've got the ones that I really, really want to ask, but there's some that just sort of, there's literally no point to them.
Okay.
Okay, so the final question. Chris, you may recall in 2019 you made a short film called Paperwork.
Yes.
You said that it was completely not scripted.
Okay, so there was a script. We did learn it, but then when it came to the day of filming, we sort of ad-libbed like a lot. Like I didn't even use the scripts anymore. It's what I was talking to you about before. It was that whole thing of like, we knew where we needed to go. We knew what the destination was. But to give you an example, when you see me walk in and start talking to everyone and then slam something down on the desk, all of that was ad-libbed. I just knew that basically they wanted me to be a prick. I had to be an arsehole office manager that no one likes. And I was like, well, that's easy. I've worked with people like this, so I know exactly what I'm doing. So I looked over and I was just a prick, basically. And then when I slammed that, I don't know what it was, like set of files by his desk, I was like, I can think of people, I know people that have done this. Like I know people like this exist. So it was fun playing that person. And but the whole thing was ad-libs. I'm pretty sure all of us didn't use the script. We just kind of rolled with it. And I think it came out well. I enjoyed it.
Well, that's good.
Because I didn't.
So, the actual question that I was going to ask you, and this is going to like totally expose you and shit.
Go for it.
Did you actually get any shots in the bin?
Yes, of course. No, we were told on purpose that, like, the whole point of the scene is it's supposed to be a kind of like masculinity bullshit thing where the actual thing, if you watch it, is it's supposed to do with something much deeper. I can't remember what it was exactly based on, but the whole idea is my character is supposed to be like weaker than the other male character. So I was told to purposefully miss, like, and it was funny, like how close I was to the, like, it was impossible to miss without, like, I don't know, having a seizure.
So you were actually really close to the bin. It was just made to look like you were far.
Well, some of it was like I was a little bit of a distance away, but yeah, a lot of it was just clever camera work. But
so when you were taking the actual shot, like you moved forward and went.
Well, let me put it this way, right? It looks like I'm going like that, right? But actually, like I'm at a distance of like, well, I don't know, like here to
so
like
it's more or less,
where that door is.
So it's more or less like a slam dunk, basically. So you were going
Kind of, yeah. I mean, like the actual throw would have just been like that, but I had to kind of give it a bit of.
Imagine just that shot. Just.
Do you know the funny thing? It was actually more difficult to miss. Like it was actually kind of difficult to pretend to miss. Like it was strange. I don't know. Like, being told to like deliberately miss.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I like because I love to play villains and assholes. It's so fun.
Well, that just says a lot about your character, doesn't it?
Maybe.
You love to play villains and assholes. Really?
It's fun. It's like in wrestling. All wrestlers will say the same thing. It's way more fun to play a bad guy than it is playing a good guy. It just is. I don't know what it. I think unless you're like actually, even if you're a superhero in a superhero movie, I still think it's more fun to play the villain. Especially if it's like Batman, you're playing the Joker. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Like, hell yeah. Anyways.
Batman. No, we're not going back to that. We're not going back to that. No.
2.0. All right, so that was it then. That was your last question.
C.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. That's the final Ask Christian segment for...
If you want it back, comment and we might do it.
Yeah, back by popular demand, I guess, maybe one day. But yeah, that's it. Ask Christian 3. Maybe it'll stay a trilogy. Who knows? But yeah, thank you for those questions. I think that's
the fourth one, actually.
No, it's the third one. I'm pretty sure it's the third one.
I'm pretty sure it's the fourth one. You're just saying different things to me for argument's sake.
No. I'm not being a dick. Like I genuinely actually believe that's the. I need to double check this. Like, are you sure? Because I know that I've done them a lot for. I've done them for my own YouTube account, as in like I do. I sometimes do live streams where it's just me basically getting people to randomly ask me questions. And it's the same for my Instagram as well. But that's more live stream, and I encourage people to be silly with their questions. And stuff. I mean, it's whatever goes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I kind of assume with these videos that if anyone would ever send anything in, it would be stuff that they're actually really dying to know, rather than just thinking off the spot kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know, because on Instagram I've done nine versions. Where is this clip, man? And on YouTube, I think I'm right. Ask Christians 2, I think. Or maybe I haven't uploaded the third one.
We'll just say it's 3 to 4.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
3.5.
It's not that important, is it?
No, not really. So this is Ask Christian 3.5 that's been finished.
On the bright side, this is the first ever Ask Dills or Ask Dutch Dills, but I prefer Ask Dills.
You could have warned me to take my earplug out.
Why would I do that? You just tortured me with those questions. So. I'm kidding.
Sure you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've asked you this before, but just in case, what's your favorite type of content to create?
My favorite type of content to create. Well, I quite like making vlogs, but when they have a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one where I went to 3 different countries.
Yeah.
That was a really fun vlog to make. I also liked that little prank video I did on my dad.
Right.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Just completely ignored him. How did you feel about that video, Dad?
What's that?
The prank video that we made. Eh?
Did you say I don't know?
No, he just went eh. Oh, he said meh.
Meh. Wow.
Well, you'll be happy to know it's on 126 views. So
wow. Fair play.
Some people must have liked it more than you.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
You're just sad because you had to listen to Watermelon Sugar. And I kept turning. That was probably the worst part of it for him. He hates Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. Sure, the stupid Watermelon Sugar.
I never listened to it.
It's awful. How is Watermelon Sugar? Why are you saying hi to Watermelon Sugar? Or does Watermelon Sugar make you high?
Nothing makes sense in the pop world. It's not supposed to. It's just if it sounds funny.
Pop sucks.
Most pop music is just about sex anyway. If you really look into the lyrics, it'll often be about sex.
Oh yeah, sex,
pretty much,
drugs, or alcohol, something.
Yeah, but mostly sex, because sex sells. And that's 90%. And it's kind of depressing. Like I remember years ago there was a song, I think it was by Timbaland or something like that. Can't remember, but the lyrics were like, "Oh, if you blow my whistle, baby, whistle, baby."
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That is obviously about sex. Come on.
Yeah, but I didn't know that when I was young. I just liked the tune. I thought it was really cool. And then I remember telling someone what it really meant, and I broke their world for them. I felt so bad. But it's
just completely. Well, sticking to the topic, I guess you rocked their world. No takers. Shit. Yeah. Okay. But
what would be your dream content to create?
Gaming. Yeah, I'd love to sit down and make playthroughs.
But let's assume that money is not an issue. Like you can afford any equipment, go any place in the world, whatever. Dream content. Is it still gaming, or is there anything else you'd like?
I would build. Well, if money isn't an issue, like you said, I would build the best possible PC that I could build.
So it's still about gaming.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Webcam and everything, face cam playthrough. I play emotional games, fun games. Play everything.
I would do the same as well. People always ask me that as well. Oh, why don't you play new games? And it's like, oh, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I just don't have the money. Yeah. I can't afford a TV, can't afford a game console. All I got is
yeah. I'm gonna spend £70 to buy Cyberpunk and play that. No. What? No.
Which game?
The new game that came out, Cyberpunk 2077.
I would
It's
totally
like
buy that game. Looks
It's
sick.
an RP. It's an RP. Yeah, it's an RPG, but you can like pick how you live. You can either be a corporate scumbag, you can be a nomad who's like sort of
It's like
out of everything,
the
sort of out of the way.
outlaw kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can be a street kid.
It
So
looks fun. It looks fun. Looks like a good
it
game.
is.
I would
It
love
looks
to play
fun.
it. There's so many games I see come and go. Consoles I've seen come and go, and I've just never had the money to play them. And I would love to. I really would.
Mark my words. One day, I will be releasing early gameplay footage of a game, and then proceed to do a walkthrough of it.
Cool, man. Well, I look forward to that day. I'm sure we
It will
do, man.
happen. It will happen.
By the way, I'll just interject. If you're not already, please subscribe to Dutch Deals on YouTube. He's a great YouTuber. I know I've said it before, but hey, he's part of the show, so you got to support him now.
Yo, that's crazy. I've just surpassed like 7,000 subs. What the frick?
Wow, that'd be awesome if that was true.
That's actually not even possible, because if
Of course it is.
every single one of your subscribers was to watch this video, that's 500. So
515, I believe.
515 plus 130 does not equal 7,000.
No, but that's still a lot. That would be like 700 or something. So it'd be like
That's crazy.
very
If
close
that actually
to.
were to happen, that would like scare me.
It is amazing. I've seen it happen to people in my network. There's a guy, he's been on the show before, Calamity Hatcher. He's a school friend of mine, and he's got to 1,200 subscribers, and he's killing it with the live streams. He's monetized now. He's doing the YouTube thing, man. It's cool to see. He deserves it. He's a good guy. But I can't help be envious. It's like, oh man, to be like
What's
that.
crazy is it's sort of like what happened to Jacksepticeye. Do you know that?
I don't know the story. I know the guy.
You
But
got a shout out from PewDiePie, and his phone was going off every couple of seconds with a new subscriber.
Wow.
I think he got up to like either 12 or 120,000.
But it was different with them though. Wasn't it like they became friends or something?
No, Jack won a shout out.
Oh, he won a shout out.
Yeah, he won a shout out, yeah. Because PewDiePie was going to give out like 10 shout outs.
Oh, wow.
And he he looked through the channels and he sort of said, what I like about Jack is that he's just a completely crazy idiot, but he makes good content. So go and subscribe.
I remember there was a point where I tried to get shout outs from KSI because I really like his content. I've been following him for many years, and I genuinely tried. I tried doing like little mini covers of his stuff for ages, trying to get his attention, and it just never happened. Because the only way you can really do it is if you get lucky through like Instagram or TikTok or something, or if people like you on the Reddit. But I just never got noticed at all. If anything, it got buried. People would like hate on it and stuff. So eventually I just gave up. And these days and this is what I wanted to talk to you about when you asked the question about the upcoming appearances thing. No, projects, sorry. Just really quickly before we get back into the questions about you. I've been scheduling a lot of like podcast appearances and trying to do like some sort of promo, I guess, for myself. I think you should do the same as well, man, for yourself. Try and appear on other people's podcasts or YouTube channels or whatever, because it's a great way to reach out and promote yourself without actually just doing the regular like promoting to your own audience and stuff. You know, like it's a good way to showcase yourself, I think, and challenge yourself. And so that's what I'm doing now. But I've given up on the trying to get shout outs thing. It's just so hard to do that.
And plus, getting a shout out can like completely ruin your channel. Because
how so? Surely it's a good thing.
Yeah, but if you don't get the right audience, you need to. But the person who's shouting you out needs to make the same kind of content as you. So
ooh, that's a
the
good
people
point.
who actually subscribe are interested in that kind of thing. Because let's say,
I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess so.
So the most common thing that you do is like vlogs, story time, and podcast.
Well, no, the
If you were to
music.
get a shout out,
Music's the big thing that I do on
okay,
my channel.
music then. So let's say a gaming channel gives you a shout out. Who? I mean, unless people are really invested in music.
I've got a gaming channel. So in theory they could just subscribe to that. That's the thing about me. I'm a variety channel, so there's a lot of different options. So I kind of appeal to all different audiences. But I take your point. You're right. If it's the different audience, then yeah, it's not going to work. But then again, like people, if they really don't like your content, they just won't subscribe. It doesn't matter if someone's giving you a shout out. Do you know what I mean? Don't forget, a lot of the time when KSI gives people shout outs, like not the people that just randomly are asking for it, but people like there was that guy, Tom Stockdale.
They do things for it though.
Yes, but the point is that they're different from what he's doing to some extent. So like Tom Stockdale, he's a musician, KSI is a musician as well, but like it is different content, different audience. Like when people come to the KSI channel, mostly they come in there for a laugh, or not KSI channel, his second channel. They come in there for a laugh. They come in there to have fun, right? Whereas Tom Stockdale's stuff, like I'm not saying it's not fun, but it's like he's trying to make something of his music. Do you know what I mean? And then there's been other people that KSI has shouted out that again do very vastly. Like there's a guy he shouted out recently who he's really helped. A guy who does like parody video. I can't remember what his name is, but he does like how to be KSI, how to be such and such person, and they're really good videos, like very good quality. But it's nothing like anything that JJ's done. I think maybe back in the day he did stuff like that, but yeah.
Olajide,
Olatunji. There you go.
Junior.
Anyway,
Olajide Olatunji Junior.
Is he a junior? Oh.
Yeah, his dad's called Olajide as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. I learned something new today. What do you like about living? You interrupted me. I was asking a question, and you interrupted me.
Yinka.
We don't have to ask any more questions about you if we want to end it just now.
No, you can. Question. Boy.
What do you like? Don't never call me that.
Boy.
Never, boy. Are you kidding me? Respect your elders, mister.
Okay, man.
What do you like about living in the Netherlands?
The culture, mostly, and just everything about it. Like it's a beautiful place.
Mm.
It really is. I urge anyone to at least visit the Netherlands, because not only is it a nice place, but the people, well, most of the people are quite nice.
Right.
I wouldn't say go to Amsterdam though, because everybody who goes to the Netherlands goes to Amsterdam. Well, yeah, go to Amsterdam, but don't make that like the point of your trip. Like, don't just go to Amsterdam and stay in Amsterdam, because that's only like half of what the Netherlands is. That's the urban side of it.
Okay.
Where I live, it's pretty much rural. So,
I think you can say that about most European cities, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'd say the same about Tallinn, about Estonia. I feel that if you just go to Tallinn, then you haven't seen Estonia at all. You've just seen Tallinn, because Estonia is not Tallinn. Tallinn's just like...
And Amsterdam is not the Netherlands.
Right,
But it's not all it has to offer.
I've heard the same about the Czech Republic as well. But yeah. Anyways, and Germany.
Comparing where I used to live in England, which was very urban, comparing that to this, which is very rural, I have to say I like living rurally in the country.
So, what do you dislike about the Netherlands?
Oh, what do I dislike?
Holland.
It's gonna kind of. Yeah. Because where I live is, like I said, very rural, and to get to one of the biggest cities, it's like 20 minutes, half an hour.
Still not that bad. 20 minutes, half an hour.
I leave the house at 8:05, mostly. 8:05, and I get to school at about 8:45.
That's not that long. That's
Yeah, but every single day, it's just,
dude. Try an
I'd
hour and a
rather just bike
half.
for 5 minutes.
Okay,
I would
all
rather
right.
just
Yeah.
bike for 5 minutes and, be at school and then bike 5 minutes to get home. But
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
what you mean. I get what you mean. That's fair enough.
I enjoy the traveling, but on some days where I'm not really in the mood for traveling, it's just not really enjoyable. But you've got to do it because, I can't just not go to school, and especially in the Netherlands, you will get screwed.
What do you mean you'll get screwed?
I'm pretty sure if you're late or don't show up to school like 3 times for no reason, you'll get a visit from the appropriate authorities.
But I'm confused because you finished actual school. You're in essentially
going
a
to a school.
college.
No,
Yeah, but
I'm not in college yet. It's called Novo College, but it's not a college. It's
okay.
just to learn Dutch.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. But here's
Primarily.
what I do not understand. Okay. In the UK, between the ages of 16 to 18, which is where you fall now, right?
Yeah.
The law states that you have to basically go to some form of a college or some vocational training for at least a year before you can then start working, right? That's the law.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not a resident. I'm not Dutch. I'm a buitenlander. I'm a foreigner.
Yeah, I
There's
understand
different
this.
kind of rules. You have to learn
Right.
Dutch because
No, I get that, but I just find it interesting that you're kind of governed in such a manner at that age. Okay, how can I explain this properly?
would you like me to lay it out for you?
No, I understand. Like, let me explain what I need to explain first, right? So, when you're in the UK, up to the age of 16, right, it's the law that you have to then basically. What's up?
Sorry to disturb you, but 4 o'clock is the absolute latest because Germany's going into lockdown tomorrow and we have to go to Germany and get issues this afternoon. So 4 o'clock is the absolute latest, okay?
Okay.
Germany's going into full lockdown tomorrow.
Okay, just had some news from my trusted assistant. The absolute latest recording time for this podcast is 4 o'clock because Germany is going into lockdown and there's some things we need before they close the gates.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. Germany back into lockdown.
Germany is shutting its doors to everything. Netherlands and Belgium as well.
Oh, you guys are going into full lockdown too? That's interesting.
Sorry?
Netherlands and Belgium can no longer go to Germany.
Oh, no, sorry. What I meant to say was the Netherlands and Belgium are no longer allowed in Germany.
Wow.
Unless you work there.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Fair enough.
No more Germany.
Okay, bringing it back to what I was talking about anyway. So, up to the age of 16, basically your parents are responsible for you going to school. Therefore, the law will become involved and potentially your parents will be prosecuted if you do not go to school. However, after you finish school, which you have
Not
at 16, you finished high school. You finished school in the UK.
Yeah, I finished secondary school.
Right, there you go. Right, and this is
I need to go to college. Yeah.
Yes. If you were still in the you're really annoying me here. If you were
I'm not annoying you.
You
You're
are,
annoying
because
me.
first of all, you keep interrupting
listen.
me. You keep interrupting me, which is just rude. And secondly, let me just finish what I need to say. Okay. So you finished school at 16. If you were still in the UK, you would have at least a year where you would legally have to study something. But because you've moved to the Netherlands, obviously that does not apply to you. Now, you've told me that as a foreigner, there is an expectation placed upon you by law. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that you have to do this. So regardless of your age, if it was 16, 30, you would still have to do this.
Well, it's not so much you have to do this. It's just, it's if you don't do it, you're pretty stupid. Why would
So
you
it's,
not
so it's
learn
not the
Dutch
law.
if you're living in the Netherlands?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that go to other countries
But
that don't learn the language.
when you enroll in a school,
Mm.
that school expects you to show up on time, to do what you're supposed to do,
Hmm.
and to leave within the time. So I need to go to school. I need to be at school on time. I need to go home no earlier than school's finished. It's basically the same as going to work. You show up to work on time, you leave on time. Don't leave earlier, you don't get there later. And
All right.
if you don't show up for a given reason, if you don't notify the school
Hmm.
of you being absent for a reason, if you don't do that, I think it's 3 times, you will be visited by either, I don't know, like the police or something.
Yeah, I just find
And you
that
will be
element
fined.
interesting. That to me is very interesting. That you're fined even though you're of legal age. I guess it's just different in the Netherlands because I think in the UK you wouldn't get fined
It's
or
because I'm enrolled in
prosecuted.
a school.
Okay.
You need to either have a job
Mm.
or be in school at my age.
Mm.
If you're not doing either, then that sort of lies within like breaking the law, because you're required by law to be at school or to have a job at my age.
Interesting. When do you
And
turn? When do you
it's
turn 17?
10th of February.
10th of February. Wow.
Hmm?
If you don't go to school, or if at 18 you don't have a job, and you haven't worked between 16 and 18, and you haven't been to school between 16 and 18, the government won't give you any money.
Okay. So if you haven't attended school or had a job between 16 and 18, and you don't have a job from 18,
Hmm.
the government will not pay you.
Wow. There you go. Learning something new. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is stay in school, get a job, stop being childish.
A good message. What did Dutch people think of British people?
What do Dutch people think of British people?
Yeah, they like us quite a lot.
They like us.
We helped save them from
We helped save them from Germany.
Ah, okay.
And
Interesting.
this actually reminds me of something that happened at school this week. There were some Dutch girls coming to our school to go to the gym because the VMBO that's near our school doesn't have its own gym. They
Oh,
have
are
a
you
field, but they don't have a gym.
a boys only college then, or something?
No, we're not a boys only college. It's it's unisex,
Okay.
but it's obviously too cold for them to sport outside, so they use our gymnasium that's on our grounds.
Oh, it's a different school then, basically.
It's sort of in the same car park, but one is like it's ESK, which is I've completely forgot what that means, but
Mhm.
it's a language school,
Okay.
and the VMBO is where the Dutch resident kids go
Okay.
mostly. And I was talking to my friend, and I was speaking English, and one of the girls asked me if I was English, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, yeah. And then they all started laughing.
Oh,
So I guess it's kind of weird for an English person to be in the Netherlands, but
that's interesting. Yeah.
overall, I think the impression that the British people have on the Dutch is positive.
I'll add to this as well. I kind of feel like it depends on who you talk to because a lot of people, when I was in Estonia, kind of, didn't bat an eyelid. It was like, oh, you're a foreigner. Yeah, whatever, right?
Okay.
But there were some people that were like, you're English and you're here? Like, there were a lot of people
Why?
that, yeah, no, seriously, there were a lot.
Why are you here?
Yeah, no, there were a lot of people that kind of were like, why would you not be in the UK? It's better there. And I think it's relative. It really depends on what you need. Like, I would agree with them as far as like services are concerned, like the welfare state, stuff like that. But as far as like quality of life and living is concerned, I think it really depends on the situation you're in, your
In the
employment.
Netherlands, you need to be doing something. It's
Yeah.
important. It's like a reputation thing for the Netherlands. You have to be doing something. You have to be benefiting the country in at least a certain way.
I think that's fair. Yeah, you got to be
If you're
contributing.
living here
Yeah.
completely unemployed,
Productive member of society.
yeah, you have to be a productive member of society.
I think that's reasonable.
I would not be surprised if let's say I dropped out of school, I didn't get a job, I didn't do it. I would not be surprised if they deported me. I would not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
How long how does it work for your visa? How
My
long do you have?
visa,
Yeah.
me and my dad have something called the CZ Zorgpass.
Okay.
CZ Zorgpass. That sort of like grants us residence here, I suppose.
No, that's not right.
Indefinite.
Then can you explain it then?
CZ is your health insurance.
Okay, so CZ is health insurance, but what keeps us here? Why? How are we allowed to be here?
Brexit. Before Brexit, we didn't need anything, but since Brexit, we've got to have a place for them, which is a stay permit, a residence permit.
Okay. So we have a residence permit,
Mm-hmm.
but that's only because of Brexit. Before Brexit, we didn't need anything to like allow our being here.
Okay. So it sounds similar to what you have in Estonia, in the sense that presumably you have the residence permit for a number of years or months, and you have to continuously renew it. So every time the government will look at your situation and will decide whether or not they're going to continue to grant you residence.
Yeah. So are we granted residence like yearly, or
No, it's every 5 years, and we got it straight
Huh.
away because I've been here longer than 5 years. If I'd have only moved here, say, 6 or 8 months before Brexit, then I might not have got it, and I might have had to go back to England.
okay? So because my dad lived here for longer than 5 years,
Mm.
we got it pretty much immediately, and I mean I did too because obviously I'm my dad's son. But yeah, it gets like renewed every 5 years.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess they just sort of decide about how. I mean, because my dad works in Germany, but he has
Yeah.
a job. So, yeah.
How's he going to work if there's a lockdown in Germany? Then is he going to do it remotely?
No, you can work in Germany.
Oh, so they'll still let you.
You're allowed to
come
go to
in.
Germany to work. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So
Interesting.
he's okay, but yeah.
Okay, moving it forward, what do you think are your biggest strengths?
My strengths
Yeah,
in terms of what
just in general in life.
in life.
I know it's a difficult
I'm
question.
very. I'd say one of my most notable positives is I say what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's not handy in every scenario, but if I don't like something, I'll say it. I won't be like pushed around, if that makes sense.
Mm.
If I don't like something, I'll say something about it.
Yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
I've got that from my dad, I think, because he's very down to earth as well.
Mm.
But if you don't, again, this is some advice. If you don't like something, not saying anything about it won't help anyone.
Yeah, of course. You're completely right.
The only way to change something is to say something. If you hate it, change it.
What do you think are your biggest weaknesses?
My biggest weaknesses. I have the attention span of a goldfish.
You're telling me.
You're saying that, but I'm sitting here, right? This podcast has been going on, what, like 2 hours now? It's 25 to 3 where I am. We started this at about 20 to 1 or something. I've been sitting here talking and answering questions and asking questions. So yeah, I mean, my biggest weakness is
I was just joking, by the way.
for legal reasons. It's a joke, but no. Seriously, one of my biggest problems is concentration and focus and lack thereof.
It can be tricky sometimes. I get that. What would you consider your main goal to be in life?
my main goal in life is to make something of myself.
Fair enough.
Don't do anything stupid. Don't don't screw up school.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of my biggest things that I need to do. One of the hardest tasks that I'm gonna have to, overcome. But to actually be something in life.
I get that, man. Fair enough. It's good that you have that motivation and ambition in life. I think that can only ever be a positive thing. And I think it's important that we all have that. We need to have goals, ambition in life, and have something that we're working towards.
Time only counts down. You don't get any extra time.
It's very true.
You've got to make the most of what time you have, because you can't tell the future. You or I could not be here in a week's time. You got to just make the most of it. You're right. Yeah. That was very how do you say?
No, you're right. You're speaking truth.
Blunt. That was very blunt. But
you're completely right. I couldn't agree more with that. Absolutely.
Just don't. I'm guilty of it for sure, but don't waste time.
Okay. We're done with our stills. Thank you very much for that. That was awesome. Let's move it forward.
So I have written down here that segment 3 is a general Q&A, but due to expected circumstances, we don't have any questions that there is to be asked. At all. Actually, you know what, Dad? I hate to do this to you and hate to put you on the spot. No? Okay, we literally have no questions. There's nothing. There's nothing that can save us.
No, I know. I expected that. And to be fair, I think that I'm happy that we were still able to do a show today in general. I knew we would be fine. I just kind of hoped that maybe we'd get a bit of contribution.
Would say something.
Yeah. But it is what it is. You move on. You make the best of things. You call an audible.
Maybe one day we'll have a Q&A and we'll have like tens of thousands of
absolutely. Yeah, I don't doubt it's possible. But yeah, let's move it forward. What else do you have in store?
Segment 4 has been written down as the best moments of the podcast so far. So these can be your most favorable moments, the most.
There's 3 that stick out for me.
Touching moments, if you want.
There's 3 that stick out for me. There's three in particular that stick out for me. I think the biggest one for me was episode 10, when I got to interview this Estonian musician called Martin Kuningas, because he's a real hero of mine. I absolutely adore his music. I think it's amazing. And I mean, okay, yeah, he might not be like an international celebrity, but in Estonia, he's a big deal. He's like one of the best musicians in the country. And he's a celebrity there, you know what I mean? And I don't doubt that one day that band, they're called Miljardid, they're going to be big around the world. I'm calling it now. I honestly believe that. It's not just them as well. There's a lot of other talented musicians in Estonia, but I really feel like he's got something and that they'll go far. And it was a really big deal to have him on the show. And so early on as well, episode 10. I didn't think it was going to happen. I reached out to him. I always reach out to people. I'm always bold with this. I'm always trying to reach out to anyone that might want to be on the show, even if there's like no chance in hell that they'll want to. But you got to try. And mostly I get ghosted by people, or people just never reply or anything. But he did reply, which I was amazed by. And he was like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And I was like, oh my God. And then nothing happened for like a week and a half. And then I just lost hope. And then randomly, he just messaged me out of nowhere. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I've got some time. And I was like, and like, I just ran around scrambling, trying to get everything sorted. And then we did the podcast. And it went really well. I think he was impressed by the professionalism and the research that I'd done. I really had to remain calm the whole time because I was wigging out. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I kept it together and we did the podcast, and I think it turned out really well, and I'm proud of it. Other podcasts I'm proud of. I mean, I'm proud of all of them, if I'm honest. They're all really, really good.
Yeah, my answer would be for the best moments of the podcast so far. I know it's not really very specific, but I've just enjoyed my time being part of the podcast. Like, there's no moments where I notably went, that's great.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
every minute, every hour that I've been on a podcast, on this
Mhm.
podcast, has been memorable because
Oh,
either there've been some really funny moments that have happened, like just
yeah.
before, where I literally couldn't stop laughing, or
Don't start.
No. You're right. No, I shouldn't.
It's a touching moment. We're having a touching moment right now.
Or touching moments. But I've just got to say, I've just enjoyed my time on the podcast, and here's to more moments of the podcast where we can make memories and enjoy what we've done.
No, I appreciate you being a part of it,
you've
man.
created.
I wouldn't have reached out to you if I didn't think, because I'll be honest, I took a chance on you. I thought, because you're not the only guest I've had on regular that I've had chemistry with, right? But I knew that we're very similar minded in many ways. I'm very impressed by how motivated you are at such a young age. I think that's what impresses me the most. And, I mean, this isn't like a big deal in the sense that, I'm not some like big YouTuber, big success. So, but like, I thought if nothing else, you'd enjoy it and we'd have fun. And I think that always happens. So that's good, and I enjoy working on projects with you, to be honest. Like when you sent me your stuff through for The Chase, for example, I was really impressed. You know what I mean? You put effort into it. It was good. And I've produced it into something that I'm proud of as well. So I like that. I like that you're professional and you treat it seriously. And, obviously we have a laugh, we have fun, but you still take it seriously. And I think that that's something that means a lot to me. So that's why I reached out to you and stuff. And yeah, man, to many more episodes.
To say the strongest part of what makes us such a good pair is literally our like-minded chemistry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We can have our our little funny moments and funny clips that we make, like the divorce. I don't know how that's funny. That's actually heartbreaking. But
you heartless wench!
Don't call me a wench.
I'm bringing it back.
But yeah, we can also come away from the funniness and go back on topic. It's just we're very like-minded, and it's easy peasy to make a podcast with someone whom you have such good chemistry with. So yeah, it's just easy to do, making the podcast. But if I was with someone else, I don't think it would be as.
It's just different. It's different chemistry, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Some
people you click with, some people you don't. It's just that's it. That's chemistry. Yeah. I also really enjoyed. Go on.
What were we saying?
What's going on?
You said something. My dad chiming in with one of his jokes. It's nice that we're back together.
I mean, it's a trial separation at this point.
Yeah, it's a trial separation. I'm working on getting a restraining order.
Good. That'll keep you as far away as possible from my assets. That works for me very well.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I didn't tell you about. You did actually sign a prenup, so.
No, I didn't. I would never do that. I would never do that.
Half the shit's
anyway, back to the schedule at hand.
Who paid for the house? Yeah.
Back to the point. So yeah, my other favorite podcast moments probably includes. I really enjoyed when I had John Lannon on the podcast, and John Lannon, and he was great because he shared some stuff that I wasn't expecting him to share, some like really deep stuff, and that was like, wow, okay, that it kind of he you can tell it's not stuff that he normally shares, but it was a big deal for me to have something like that, especially from a very funny kind of chirpy, chappy lad, like positive guy. He was sharing something very serious, and I was like, wow, like thank you so much. So that was a really big moment. Other times, you know, it will just be little things. I like the fact that when I can get a guest on and I can tell they're nervous or they're not, you know, completely comfortable, but then I kind of help them open up. I always like that. That seems to me like to be a real achievement with the podcast, and something I always really strive to do with every guest. I want to try and get them to feel as comfortable as possible and open up as much as possible. So that's
Well, maybe you could find a job that sort of tailors to that,
Nah,
to
I don't
helping
want to.
people open up.
I don't want to do that. I want to do what I'm doing right now for a living. I've already decided. I don't want a 9-to-5 job. I've done that. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. That's not me. That's not what I like doing. I'll do it if I have to. I'll do it if I have to to make money, you know, but I won't do it because I enjoy it, because hell no. You know, you got to gravitate towards what you enjoy in life. Otherwise, you're just not getting the most out of it. Simple.
Yeah, true. Okay.
But no, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else otherwise? Top podcast moments. I was really cool having Emma Hirsch, who's the owner of Gig Leads. It's this freelance company in Manchester, funnily enough. That was a challenge for me because it was a business and a service product. So I had to kind of obviously treat it professionally, as I always normally would, but I had to think about like, how can I best put over her business and still kind of have this make sense within the context of what I normally do. And it worked. And I've got other people that are going to appear on the podcast in the future that have businesses as well. So we're evolving, we're doing different things. And I like the fact that the podcast can kind of, you know, you can have more fun guests where it's just having a laugh. You can have really serious guests, whatever. Like it caters to all, and I like that. That's something I'm really trying to achieve with the podcast, and it's happened very organically.
So your podcast is very diversity friendly.
I would think so. I tried to be. Do you know what I mean? I would never want to exclude anyone. That's for sure. I always try to kind of think about like, what can people relate to? You know what I mean? Because it's different.
That just reminded me of my old school's motto.
Go on.
It was on our jumpers, and on the sort of shoulders of our shirts. Value diversity and strive for excellence. Value diversity, strive for excellence. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always want my podcast to be for everyone. You know, it's not intended for any specific person or people. It's for everyone. You know, obviously.
Anyone can appear. Anyone can watch.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, when it comes to anyone can appear, like, I don't want anyone that's like hateful.
No, anyone who's taken it seriously. Anyone who's
it's not just that. It's more about having people who aren't hateful, who are good, you know.
No. That's what I mean. People who are seriously gonna like.
Well, that's different. That's different.
No, I mean, like,
being serious and professional is different from being whether or not you're a hateful person. It's a completely different thing.
No. What I mean is, a hateful person, like, let's say he says that he wants to come on and, like, you know, talk about this and that, but he comes on and then he just completely decides to ruin the podcast. So,
well, that's something entirely different, though. That's, again, you're talking about professionalism. That's different. What I'm talking about is I'm not going to promote like hate or like anything like that on my podcast. So that's where I would draw the line in terms of like having anyone on the podcast. Like, for example, I've had someone on, Greta Marie, who said some controversial stuff, and it made me think, like, I think in the future, I really have to think about like who I have on here and what they say and stuff. And in fairness, you know, she let me challenge her. She was reasonable the whole time, and she never went on like a tirade or anything, but she said some stuff about like homosexuality that wasn't cool. And I received some comments from friends of mine, you know, fellow content creators, that were like, you should have challenged this more. And I was like, is that my role? Is it not? I guess it is. It wasn't a debate that was supposed to be about that specifically, but it's an important thing to think about. Well, no, it's an important thing to think about. You have to think about who you're promoting, because it's my decision to have her on the podcast. So I have to take.
You've got to really. I mean, nowadays it's 2020, almost 2021. People can be essentially whatever they want to be. I mean, up to an extent. I mean,
but the whole point is that if
but you have to
you can be anything
support
you want to
your
be,
views.
yeah, like I support people's different views and stuff, but there's a difference between supporting people's views, however conflicting they may be, and then just promoting hate. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have an
You've also got to
opposing.
stand up for your views as well, because I mean,
Yeah, of
obviously,
course.
like you said, yours and
Okay, let me
River's-
let me make it really simple for you, like much easier than what I'm getting at, right? If someone
No,
is
I
just
understand.
well, yeah, but if someone's hateful, if someone says like
That's how it works.
X and X thing about, I don't know, homosexuality or race or something like that, then as a society, we collectively decide like, you know, we do not support this, we do not like this. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna have people like that on my show for that reason. Do you know what I mean? Like I think about that more and more now.
You have
But
to
that
have like
happens.
open-minded people.
Yeah, I try. I mean,
Suppose.
but that's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm for having anyone on the show, but I'm against promoting anything hateful at all in any shape or form. Like if I had something like that happen, I just wouldn't have it on the show in future. You know, I learned from
Okay.
that Greta Marie experience, and that's the main thing I learned. Like even though she wasn't like a hateful person, she said that one thing that, you know, I go back and forth on because like it's part of
So
her
where do you
religion.
two stand now?
Oh, we're fine, obviously, but like she said that thing in the context of like what she believes with her religion, and that's why I didn't challenge it like hugely. And because it wasn't a debate on like homosexuality, it was a debate. It wasn't even a debate, it was just a small section of a long interview. We just happened to be talking about her beliefs. Like I asked her about her beliefs, and that was one thing she chose to say. You know, should I have clipped it out? Maybe, maybe not. You know what I mean? There's lots of questions raised, but now moving forward, I'm going to be a lot more careful when it comes to things
I
like that.
feel like you shouldn't clip it out because that's her belief. She decided to say that. She decided to open up about that
And it's
part
hate.
of it.
Don't
But
forget,
at the same
I
time,
got a YouTube.
hang on.
Well, no, hear me out. Like I got a clip banned from YouTube for the same reason.
Okay, well, in that case, if it's going to conflict against YouTube's terms of service, then you've got to take appropriate action.
No, it's not.
You've got to let people say what they think, but then you sort of have to tell them, look, what you've just said, it goes against YouTube's rules, and therefore, I mean, I heard your point of view, and you've been heard, but I can't upload that part of the podcast because
Yeah, and this is what I
it
don't
won't be
like,
allowed.
because it's like it's censorship, which is something I'm against, but at the same time, it's like promoting hate as well. I've spoken about this before, and I don't want to get into a massive discussion about this now. We can save that for an
It's a rock and a
episode.
hard place, really.
We can save it to do it as a topic one day. But like the small thing I'll say about it, especially because the next segment is final segment is the future of the podcast. Moving forward, I won't be having similar guests on where they have these kind of views, because it's like, if I have them on the show, it's like I'm supporting that. You know what I mean? I don't support that personally. You know what I mean?
It's so difficult because
It is.
hate is bad, but censoring people's views, religious or not, is that worse?
I think yes and no, because you've got to look at like what the collective society thinks and feels. Like if we as a society, like for instance, we're all against like Nazis, for example. Right? We don't support that. If someone says I support Nazis, then you don't support them. And I put it in the same category. It's like hate. It's deliberate hate. Like there are many, for instance, there are many Christians that, you know, support homosexuality or believe in it or whatever, or are homosexual. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't think it's not a generic thing that all Christians are like that. It's a personal belief, it's a personal choice kind of thing, and it's up to the individual person how they think and feel. But like most people tend to agree that it's like hateful to think in that manner. So, and that's kind of where I sit on it as well. It's like I look at like what's hateful and what's just someone having an opinion on something. You know what I mean? Because there is a difference.
I feel like censor them, but you have to express your beliefs as well.
Yeah.
So she says, I'm not sure what she said because
I can't repeat
personally,
it.
I haven't. Yeah, don't repeat it. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it. But if, like you said, it was hate towards homosexuality.
Yes.
What you had, well, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure what you said in terms of what happened.
The issue was that I didn't challenge it enough. Like I said, like, well, I definitely disagree with this, but I'm willing to hear you out. That's basically what I said.
What? Yeah. Okay. In that case, I myself would have challenged it a bit more. But
Yeah,
not
but
completely,
again,
but not completely bulldozed it.
yeah, this is the thing. It wasn't a debate. It was, if it was a debate on that topic, then I would have done that. But because
Or was it just full on hate?
Like, yes and no. It was her personal belief. Like, I don't want to go into a long conversation about this, but like, because we're pressed for time. But it was a hateful comment that she said that she believes as part of her religion. Okay. Now, it wasn't part of a debate, a full-on debate. If it were, I would have challenged it more. We would have had an actual full-on debate about it, right? It was a small comment in a large 3-hour interview where we got onto the topic of her religion. And the reason that her religion is important is because she's a born-again Christian. So that's why it was, she didn't used to be like that. It was completely different. So that's why we were talking about that and why I brought it up. But I didn't ask her about that. I didn't ask her at all. She said, hey, I believe this thing.
She chose to say it.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I believe this thing. And I was like, okay, well, I completely, disagree with this. I said, I have like homosexual friends, blah, 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 blah. I'm completely against this, but I want to hear why you think the way that you think. And then she explained it. She didn't say anything like hateful past that. She explained why she has that thought. And I said, well, and I started challenging that. If you listen to the clip or that segment, you hear me challenging and finding inaccuracies in what she's saying. And it then, I suppose, was pretty much a debate at that point, and then we just trailed off into another topic, and that's where it ends.
I could talk about religion for ages, but that's not what this episode's about.
No, and that's why I want to move on, because we can do this another time. But like, the point behind this is that moving forward in the future of this podcast, I will always be extra vigilant who I have on the show. What they say, and if need be, I might clip things out here and there if I deem it to be like hateful.
You've got to follow the terms of service at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't want to alienate anyone. It's not just about YouTube. It's about, when I had people reach out to me that are my friends that were saying this, it made me think like, it's not. They weren't even saying that I was supporting it. They were just saying I should have challenged it more, and it made me think. And that's why I've revised how I think about it. But anyway, let's move on to something positive, shall we?
Yeah. Okay. So,
because we spoke about that for ages, and I don't want to waste any time on what is a 50th episode. This is a big deal. This doesn't happen every day.
We talked about that so long, I've got a headache. Okay. So,
future of the podcast.
Looking forward, I am going to appear more and contribute more to episodes, and maybe even lead my own episodes. For example, let's say I appear and we talk about. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to give away any future topics. But
yeah,
let's say we talk about coffee.
Yeah,
we talk about coffee. I would lead said podcast episode.
For sure.
Sort of,
yeah.
Ask the questions, do the research, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm happy for the dynamic to change on those episodes, man. I mean, especially since like I fully take the lead in my interview episodes, and obviously the solo ones I do. Like, I'm happy for you to take the lead in those. I think it offers an interesting dynamic. It's something a bit different.
And plus it lifts some weight off your shoulders.
That's true. I don't mind. I mean, I'm still going to have to do research regardless anyway, so it doesn't really change how much work I have to put in. But yeah, I think it's fun, if anything, for people listening and watching. I think it'll be nice to just hear something different, different voice, different leader. It's just something different. I think that's what I want to offer moving forward, is something different. And I also, to add on to this, with these topics that I would have originally have just done myself, I might still do them myself here and there, especially when, for instance, you're not available. But I think for the most part, I want to do them with you because it's fun to hear people talk about a topic, debate it, whatever the case may be. I find that that's
And
a bit more.
They have their own views. They can comment as well.
Yeah, like if we disagree massively on coffee, then that'll be interesting to hear about.
I mean, I highly doubt there's many people who disagree on coffee, apart from people who say, I like it, I don't like it. I mean, unless you're talking about how healthy or unhealthy it is for you.
That's a good point, yeah. Okay, what else? I mean, I'm going to continue trying to find guests. I've had different opinions on how the podcast should be structured, whether it should be one a week or several a week. I'm just going to do what I've always done. I'm never going to have a specific day. It's just going to be as and when. I'm going to aim to try and do it every week, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I figured there's so many episodes now and there's so many clips as well that I'll be uploading in the future as well. That's one of the reasons I don't upload them all at once. I stagger them and put them out as and when, because I feel like I've been putting too much out on the channel, not just podcast stuff, but other stuff. So I'm starting to slow it down a bit more and stagger it and give people a bit of breathing room. But I'm still going to put my foot on the gas pedal and see what happens. I'm just going to roll with it, basically. Whatever happens, happens. I'm always looking at those subreddits for podcast guests, or I'm looking in my networks, people I meet on social media, people I reach out to. As I always say, I'm always open to having people on the podcast, or even if people just want to appear and talk about something with me, I'm open to that too.
So would you say if someone wanted to appear on the podcast, they would include a reason as to why and what they would want to talk about?
Yeah. So if they don't want to, if it's not like a straight interview that they're trying to promote themselves or anything, like if they just simply wanted to just talk to me about something, I'd be up for that. Like, why not? It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm game for anything with this. For me, it's always about making entertaining episodes, making it interesting each and every week, or however often it's possible to do it. And I want every episode to be as good as the last. I don't ever want there to be an episode where it's like lackluster or doesn't feel like the effort has been put in or something like that. I would hate for that. I would hate for anyone.
Maximum effort.
Yeah, exactly. I want them all to be high quality as much as possible. So anyway, is there anything else you want to add to that for the future of the podcast? Anything? Hoping?
I don't believe so, no, except I'm going to be appearing hopefully a bit more.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
You can expect to see my face and the apple of truth over there.
Any final thoughts you want to lead us with, or anything else?
No, have you?
No, that's everything I got here. We got through it all.
All right then.
Amazingly.
So, if you enjoyed listening to me and Christian talk about the future of the podcast, and hopefully we answered some of your questions. If not, feel free to comment, or so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment down below any questions that you want us to answer, because we will get around to answering them. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for tuning in. This podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and probably any other app that streams podcasts. So if you liked it, be sure to subscribe and follow it on whatever you get your podcasts on. Thank you so much for watching. Share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.
To the next 50 podcasts. See ya.
Peace out.